I think this whole Bitcoin is using too much energy is just complete misinformation and misconceptions. To manage $1 trillion asset, there's no other more efficient way. The banks spend way more energy on electricity alone.
I think people were expecting fireworks, were expecting a lot of volatility, and the ETH merge just came and went.
I think what will be earth moving is when the fees drop, when the sharding kicks in.
I'm trying to get a feel for what narratives you believe are the most promising right now in crypto.
I wouldn't go for the most promising. I would actually go chase the hardest problem, which today I think is the wallet.
Last week we were in Lisbon. Today we're in Paris. We're here for the Binance Blockchain Week. I will be speaking later today, but actually the main reason why I'm here is to see my friend CZ, who I haven't seen in 3 years, and we're going to sit down with him and get some insight on the man, the business, and everything else around us. So, wow, there's even a replica here of the Eiffel Tower, and it's quite ironic because we're here to speak to CZ, and he's recently relocated to Paris. I've got so much to catch up with him on. I literally haven't sat down with him face to face in 3 years. Let's do this. So we're here at Paris Blockchain Week with Binance, and I get some time to sit with my friend CZ, who I haven't sat with since July 2019.
Oh,
yeah, in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good day to be meeting. It's the day that the ETH merge has happened. The ETH merge is now behind us.
Yeah.
I think people were expecting fireworks, were expecting a lot of volatility, and the ETH merge just came and went.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of work for us. We had to prepare the new wallet, make sure it works, test it, pause deposit withdrawals an hour before, do the upgrade, make sure everything works, and yeah, it's actually a big operation for us.
Were you expecting a smooth transition? I mean, like you guys must have had some technical knowledge and some opinions. Were you guys expecting a smooth transition?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't let it happen, because if we think the wallet's not going to work, then that's a huge problem. So so we thought it would be smooth.
How big is this for crypto? The fact that now the second biggest cryptocurrency out there with the second number of users, etc., is now ESG friendly, is deflationary, earns a decent staking reward. How big is this in the big scheme of things?
I think it's very important, but I don't think it's a fundamental change. There are other blockchains that are POS already. There are other blockchains that are staking, deflationary, etc. So I think all of this is important, but it's not like earth moving. But it's definitely progress in the right. It's definitely progress in the right direction. I think what will be earth moving is when the fees drop, when the sharding kicks in, when they can go live with sharding. That's a much harder problem to solve. So I'm really looking forward for them to solve that.
Proof of work. There's obviously the critics that say that it burns up too much energy and it's just not worth the energy. And that's effectively why Ethereum made the shift. What are your thoughts? I mean, how do you feel about proof of work as a concept versus proof of stake?
I think proof of work is fine. I think proof of work, I think this whole Bitcoin is not energy efficient, is using too much energy. It's just complete misinformation and misconceptions. It's just because we can measure the amount of energy that Bitcoin uses. But if you try to measure the amount of energy banks use, out of the buildings, the downtowns, to manage $1 trillion asset, there's no other more efficient way. The banks spend way more energy on electricity alone. And then they have all these buildings, all these trucks moving like gold, all the security guards, they hire all these people. The expense they used to manage those assets are much higher than Bitcoin. Yeah.
A lot of the critics, when they saw what happened with Tornado Cash and OFAC sanctioning a decentralized protocol, they came out and they said that ETH's making a mistake moving to proof of stake because a lot of the staking power is going to be with centralized institutions. I mean, you can say Lido, Binance, Coinbase, and eventually Coinbase and maybe even Binance have to succumb to the requests of the regulators, right?
So I think there's two things. There's the centralized businesses, which will have to be fully compliant. There's no other way. And they will have to strictly observe sanction rules, implement them fully. That's the centralized businesses. And the centralized businesses will have to implement sanction list, including addresses that are on the sanction list. Decentralized protocols, I think when those kind of rules become more and more strict, I think Binance, we probably would not run an Ethereum validator. There's not a whole lot of benefit. So then the government can chase those other guys who are running validators. They can classify those as centralized businesses if they want to. But then those things may or may not be in one country, right? There may be in Russia, in China, there may be guys running those nodes.
So you would rather tap out than participate with governments forcing you to not pass transactions through it?
And well, we don't have to make that decision today. We're not saying we're doing this or that, but today we're not running an Ethereum node. All right, so so we're not involved in that. So I think for Binance.com, we're busy with getting our regulatory licenses, etc. We don't need to get involved in that. Whereas businesses that want to run validators may not have the centralized exchanges. They may or may not even be centralized businesses. So we'll see. I don't know how it's going to play out.
So I do want to talk about regulation, but before we get there, now that ETH's gone to proof of stake, and you've got a whole lot of layer ones, you got BSC, you've got Near Protocol, you've got Cardano, you've got a whole lot of layer ones, and each one of them comes with their own promise and their own TPS and whatever else. Do you think that we've solved the layer one problem? Do you think we can move beyond layer one and say, look, we've got enough layer one power, and now we should be focusing on maybe a slightly different problem, maybe cross-chain, maybe something else?
No, I don't think we solved the layer one problem. It's like the internet, right? So it's like cable companies. Have we solved the cable company problems? I don't think so. Not even today. We can still get faster speed. We can get 10x faster. I still have to wait for hours to download stuff. Well, not hours. It depends a long time to download stuff. We still don't have like full 4K, 5K, 40K, 400K, high fidelity virtual environments. All of this stuff we still don't have. So the capacity of the infrastructure can always increase. So we move from telephones to cables to fiber. We can still move more. 5G is coming, or 5G is mostly here. There will be 6G. So we're not done. In technology, you're never done.
So you still think there's a space for a lot more layer ones? You don't think that ETH and all the rest are going to solve the layer one demand?
I'll say it this way. I think today I don't see one blockchain solving all layer one problems today. To be honest, if layer one is really good, we shouldn't need layer twos, right? So we should be handling 100 million transactions per second. Then we probably don't need layer twos for a while. And we're nowhere close to that. And even including BNB chain, they're not there.
If you were entering crypto today and you had money behind you and you had a very talented dev team and all the experience and all the knowledge that you've got, what narratives would you jump into in crypto? So, I mean, let's assume that you're not going to redo an exchange because there is already a Binance and it's amazing. And you were jumping in with the most talented dev team in the world. And the reason why I'm asking is I'm trying to get a feel for what narratives you believe are the most promising right now in crypto.
Actually, so based on the situation you described, I wouldn't go for the most promising. I would actually go chase the hardest problem, which today I think is the wallet.
The wallet?
The wallet.
And why is that the hardest problem?
I think that's the main blocker for mass adoption, for DeFi adoption. So today, DeFi protocols are fine. They're very easy to use. You connect your wallet for the people who know how to use their wallet. Then you just trade. It's an order book. It's very simple. No KYC, no AML. It's very simple. But today, most people cannot store their private keys securely. The wallets require them to be technical. Your computer cannot get a virus. If your computer gets a virus, there's all kinds of problems that will happen. You will lose your money. If you lose your computer, you have to have a backup. And now that backup needs to be encrypted. Most people don't know how to do that properly. And that encrypted backup, it's okay if you lose your computer, but what if eventually we die? What if you're not around? How do you give that to your kids? How do you make sure that your kids don't get that before you die? That problem is not solved. So for these reasons, most people today still prefer using an email, a password, and call customer support. They still want to use a centralized exchange. If I have no financial pressure, I would want to solve the most difficult problem that's blocking adoption. That'd be the problem I would try to solve.
Okay, so wallets, now, I think I agree with you. I didn't expect it, but I definitely think I agree with you. What else would you try to solve if wallets wasn't on the list?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I usually try to solve one problem at a time. Today's Binance, so I'm still busy with the centralized exchange part.
What about cross-chain? And the reason why I ask you what about cross-chain, it seems to be a big problem. All the bridges, well, not all, but all the hacks, or the majority of the hacks have been around bridges this year. I don't have the stats, but I think well over $600 million, even close to $1 billion has been taken out of bridges.
Yeah.
You guys are very much at the forefront, because when those hacks happen, the first thing you hear is Binance is involved, tracking, getting involved. How do you feel about the bridging problem, the cross-chain problem?
I'll tell you something. To be honest, Binance.com is the biggest bridge.
Okay.
Right. So because when you want to move from one asset from one blockchain to another, guess what? The easiest way is to deposit into Binance, trade to the other coin, withdraw on the other blockchain. So we process way more than like decentralized bridges because most people don't as you said, they're cumbersome to use, and then actually they also have security problems. So I think cross-chain is very important. But it's a difficult problem to solve. But I think over time that will get better. But from my perspective, I don't think that's the most urgent problem. I don't think that's the highest impact problem to solve, because we still have centralized exchanges that facilitate that. I think the wallet problem is the bigger blocker for mass adoption for DeFi.
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
DeFi after this last crash that we had. I mean, this last crash probably showed that, crypto was probably spurred on by a lot of leverage around Luna, and then crypto lending, and then crypto lending collapsed and stuff like that. How do you think DeFi came out of this?
I think DeFi itself is totally fine. The concept works. Uniswap still running, PancakeSwap still running. All of those are fine.
You can argue that they ran all along and they ran perfectly.
They ran just fine, and they have risks which are clearly identified. This one way. Impermanent loss. Fantastic wording for it. They work. There are known risks, and most people understand it. The Luna is a very different problem. Luna UST is a very different. That's a design mistake, compounded with an operational mistake, compounded with other companies loaning other companies. It's a whole pile of problems. So that's what I call the loan problem that's in the industry, in a few industry players. But that's not a DeFi problem.
Going back, did you ever get worried about the size that Luna was growing? Did it ever trouble you, knowing that the majority of the Binance user base must have been involved in Luna in some way or another, right? Retail was very much involved in Luna. Did you ever look at this and go, wow, what if this thing fails? This is an algorithmic stablecoin.
Honestly, I didn't. But if I did that, I probably would do that with every coin. Ethereum's pretty big, what if it fails? Bitcoin's pretty big, what if Bitcoin's bigger, what if it fails, right? So if you look at the top 10, you can say that to everything. But if I had the foresight to know this is a particular one that has a huge risk than the other ones, I would have done something. Of course, I wasn't that smart, and most other people wasn't. Hindsight is much easier.
When you saw it happening, and you must have known that a lot of the Binance users are retail, and a lot of the retail users got wrecked, and if not wrecked, lost a lot of money. How was it? How was that watching this collapse?
So it's pretty interesting, right? So we paused trading for Luna, and guess what? We got a lot of complaints from users who wants to buy it. And we said, look, we deem this is high risk. They said, look, you're the platform. You should provide access. You don't tell us you don't tell us what to buy, what not to buy. If you prevent us from trading it, then you're causing risk for us because the price may move on other platforms. We're like, do you know Luna is being printed at exponential rates? There's now like 1,000x more Luna than there were like a couple of days ago. They're like, yeah, we understand that. We can handle our loss we can handle the loss of money, but you can't stop us from trading. So you get all kind of different, perspectives from a platform.
How do you feel being in that position where you kind of have to protect users, and it's almost akin to censorship? So it's almost like Mark Zuckerberg or at the time Jack Dorsey and censorship, saying, I don't think it's safe for you to trade that. Therefore, I'm going to halt it on my platform.
So what we learned is we only paused trading when the blockchain stopped functioning.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no deposit withdrawals anyway. So but we learned is that there's a few different aspects. The best protection is to always provide a neutral market. So especially after we listed, when something happens, especially during critical periods where things are crashing, stuff like that, you absolutely should not pause trading. There's people who want to get out. There's people who want to get in. They are scalpers or whatever you call them that want to get into this high risk assets because they want to take that high volatility. They want to shoot for the upside, and they're okay with losing some money. So as a platform, once we list something, it's actually very hard to stop trading of it. Especially during volatility times, we need to make sure our system's up, our trading is well functioning.
Yeah.
The other side about protecting users is education. We need to make sure that the information disclosure is full. We added pop-up warnings about risks. This is a high-risk asset. Confirm you want to trade it. Confirm again. Confirm a third time, and take a quiz. And okay, fine. Now,
then it's your problem.
Yeah. So the education part is really important. The notice part is really important. After we do that, look, if a guy still wants to trade,
you gotta let him do what he wants to do.
And if we block the guys who, when it's crashing, the guys who want to sell, they couldn't sell. We're protecting one side, but we're always hurting the other. We shouldn't get involved in that. We're not traders. I don't even know what decision to make. I can't even. Nobody knows if it's going to fall further or going up. Like we can't make that decision for our users.
Yeah. I see you spending a lot of your time now on regulation and legislation. It was clear that at some point Binance and you personally went through a shift and said, okay, now it's time for us to focus on becoming the cleanest shop in town.
Yeah.
And I think you became the cleanest shop in town. Very stringent on KYC, taking on people, no one with multiple accounts or trying to limit multiple accounts on the platform. How have the regulators and the legislators taken to Binance and to crypto? How hard has this battle been?
So I think it's been a hard battle for sure. It takes a lot of work, and I've been flying around meeting with the regulators a lot. But I think we've seen the results. The results are also quite obvious. I'll give you a couple examples, right? So last year in July, Italy, Consob, issued a consumer warning with Binance name on it, saying we're not licensed to operate in the country. Guess what? By May this year, so less than 10 months, they give us a registration. So that's Spain, same thing.
France also.
France never gave us a warning. So
just gave you the license.
So Italy gave us a warning 10 months earlier, and then 10 months later they give us a registration. Spain, same, warning with less than a year registration. So we were able to make that shift. France, no previous warning, but no licenses either. We're the first license in France. And today Binance is the most licensed international global exchange. We have France, Italy, Spain, Sweden, Dubai, Bahrain, Abu Dhabi, and we also have 46 state licenses in the United States.
So it's becoming your competitive advantage that you're actually so regulated.
Yes. So there's a misconception before that saying if you get regulated, you're going to lose users. And there's also the other misconception saying that Binance become the most popular because we were not regulated. Guess what? We're not the most regulated one.
And the most popular.
And the most popular.
Yeah. So the guys are telling me to cut, but I have one more question. One more question. Yeah. My friend CZ, who I've known for years, I've known you before Binance was so big. I've seen the growth of Binance and CZ. How's it been for you personally? When you look back at this journey, did you ever think that you personally would get this big? Did you ever think that this is what would happen? How's it been for you personally?
For me personally, I don't think it changed very much. I'm still the same guy. I actually don't think we are super big or anything like that. I have more followers on Twitter. That's probably the most clear measure.
I mean, you're one of the richest people. You're one of the richest people in the world. You're one of the most powerful people in the world.
I don't think both are true. I think both are not that true, to be honest. We're influential in the crypto market, but crypto market is very small, right? So we're still we're like a bigger fish in a small pond on the crypto side. Money-wise, I haven't cashed out anything. I haven't sold Binance shares. I haven't sold Binance equity. I haven't sold my BNB, stuff like that. I haven't cashed out at all. So when I look in my wallet, I don't have much.
And you're still the same simple guy that I've been friends with for so many years.
Yeah. So that part doesn't change. I also don't think I need all the money that people claim that I have. I don't think I need to cash out. What am I going to use that for? I do feel very lucky. I'm already super lucky in the position where I'm already doing the job or work or life that have the most impact of all the things I can do. There's no other thing that I wake up. I can, like today, if you ask me, is there anything else you can? When I ask myself, is there anything else I can do that's more meaningful, that's more impact? I can't think of anything. There's nothing else. I can't do another startup. I can't be a CEO of a different company. This is already the most meaningful thing I can be doing for my life. So this, when I wake up, this is what I'm supposed to do. I get tired, I take a nap. Wake up again, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I don't feel the pressure. This is just my life. So like very few people are that lucky.
And you still live very humbly, I must say. You still for the top. I mean, I remember you back then. I remember you now. It's the same CZ.
I mean, how does expensive clothes change your life, right? It doesn't, right? So, So for me, it's like, So I have a very decent life. I'm very happy. I'm very satisfied because of the impact of the work I do. Not so much money that I have or not have. They gave me just all kind of different estimates. 94 billion, 11 billion 2 months later. It's like nothing changed for me.
Fair market, bull market.
Yeah, nothing changed for me. I'm fine with it, I'm fine without all of that. I actually don't care. I don't care about the rankings. I don't care about money, but I care about that. I know that this job is this work is very meaningful.
Yeah, listen, I could go on for hours, but I see there's a long line of people who want to be here. So thank you. Nice to see you.
All right, cheers, man. Yeah.
Nice to see you, my
Thanks
friend.
for all your support over the years.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. You've also been very supportive to us.